In the estimates process, the Minister of Education confirmed that he's frozen operating grants for every post-secondary institution in Manitoba, except for Red River College and University College of the North. There, he cut their operating grants. So this means that all colleges and universities in our province that are helping young people prepare for the jobs of the future are getting zero. This at a time that technology change is accelerating, costs are increasing, and we want more and more young people to get educated, not less. So what is the Premier's preferred option? Does he want these schools to cancel programs, to lay people off, or is it, as we suspected all along, that he wants to put the burden on students with skyrocketing tuition and asking them to pay more taxes if they stay in Manitoba?
The Honourable Minister of Education and Training.
Well, thank you, Madam Speaker. And this government has chosen to put its emphasis on making access better for students. And accordingly, we have increased early the process of providing Manitoba Scholarship and Bursary Initiative. We took $1.5 million that they were paying out under the previous program, and we have made that into a $20 million program. I don't understand how the member can construe that in any way as reducing access to to students to post-secondary institutions, and I don't think they can either.
The Honourable Member for Fort Rouge on a supplementary question.
Madam Speaker, we need high-quality post-secondary education in Manitoba. Already, many universities in Manitoba are struggling to attract talented faculty with competitive pay. Now the Premier wants to lock in this disadvantage and have them fall further behind as inflation drives up salaries at other universities in North America. We need post-secondaries to educate young people for the jobs of the future and also to be the job creators of the future. That requires investments, not cuts. How does the Premier think he can meet the challenges of tomorrow by handcuffing these schools to yesterday's funding?
The Honourable Minister of Education and Training.
Well, thank you, Madam Speaker, but I think the member needs to look back on the process of funding for post-secondary institutions and the tuition associated with it. And recall the 5 years that they had frozen tuition in Manitoba for those same institutions, and then when they did allow them to go up, they only went up at the cost of inflation. So certainly post-secondary institutions have gone through a long period where they have struggled for funding. We're in the process now of having good discussions with post-secondary institutions about funding now and into the future. And when we're done making changes to the funding for post-secondaries and to the students, we'll have a sustainable post-secondary system, not what we had before.
The Honourable Member for Fort Rouge on a final supplementary.
Congrats, Madam Speaker. Affordable tuition is the best way to ensure accessibility at post-secondary. When we look to the future, we're not going to cut our way out of this province's challenges. We have to grow our way out, and that requires investments, including in post-secondaries. So as we look to create a new economy with new jobs, what sort of new funding is this Premier bringing to the University of Manitoba? Zero. University of Winnipeg, zero. ACC and Brandon University, zero. Red River College and UCN, $1 million and $300K less. The only thing new is higher tuition. So will the Premier change course and commit to increasing the operating grants for post-secondaries in Manitoba?
The Honourable First Minister.
I recognize that the member is advocating for his friends in the academic community with his preamble, Madam Speaker. Higher pay for professors is what he is standing for, which means, of course, higher taxes, which means, of course, he's also combining and putting on display a lack of understanding of how universities can be funding the ability to pay higher pay for his professorial colleagues, Madam Speaker. If you cap tuition, then you find it difficult to raise the pay of professors. That's what the previous administration did. In every preamble, Madam Speaker, the member placed a special interest while failing to mention that the growth he talks about and seeks that was pursued by the previous administration was growing debt, growing deficits, and growing taxes. All of those a burden on families and students in this province, Madam Speaker. Imposing greater burdens was the record of the NDP, a record I know he wants to escape, Madam Speaker, but a record nonetheless. that stood in the way of improving the lives of Manitoba's high school graduates. We will stand with them, and we will provide better opportunities for them and better quality education for them as well.